What's going on? Let's dim the lights now. Let's get cozy. This is bedtime. We're gonna cuddle. No one listens to me. All right, fine. What up? My name is Bradley GMUNK. I am a graphic designer living in San Francisco. This talk is called The 8 Secrets to Intergalactic Conquest, which I then changed to the 8 Pearls for Intergalactic Conquest because I like pearls more than secrets. And this is actually the first time in my whole career. I've done over 70 talks, and this is the first time in my whole career that I've actually made text slides, which feels really weird. Feels strange, but we're going to do it. So Pearl 1, understand and appreciate your roots. They define you. So let me tell you about my roots. I went to school with the Ewoks in Humboldt County. They loved me. They just petted me and loved me, and took me to their bonfire parties where they taught me Flash. And I learned Flash, and I made these little narratives. I also took a couple film classes and maybe a few graphic design classes at Humboldt State. Humboldt State's not a very good school. It's not like SVA or Art Center or Otis or something. It's kind of a state college in the forest with a bunch of Ewoks, and we have parties. So I wasn't really super well educated. It was mostly self-taught, Flash, and it was in school that I kind of came up with GMUNK and would mix my Flash work with my design work. Lots of psilocybin, lots of cannabis, became a vegan, and to be honest, man, like that schooling, that time in my career was basically set the foundation for the rest of my life, where it was not burgers of meat, it was burgers. Isn't that a great slide? I love that. All right, so those are my roots. So I wasn't really super educated, it was mostly self-taught, went to school with the Ewoks. Pearl 2, to make it in this industry, you must prepare to work very hard, very hard. And this is what I learned when I graduated college, because in college you work hard, but you don't really understand what the pros are like when you're in the forest. So I started learning how to put on clothes and went to London, where I worked with an amazing group of talent at a company called Virtual. I had a very nice roommate who cuddled me, and continued my Flash work with them, and really there learned graphic design. These guys were incredible designers. Actually, all the guys that I was looking up to when I was in college, I ended up working with. And so they taught me a lot about design. I was really into the pixel, tiny microscopic details and all sorts of stuff. Was really into the minutia. And so continued Flash work and would make my personal websites every couple months, and would take the environment around me and put it into these weird websites and scan toys and just make all sorts of really weird experiences published on the web, which is kind of what helped the GMUNK brand grow. And this is actually one of my favorite quotes. One of my favorite designers, Michael Cina, has this quote, and it's about the idea about, people are born with talent, and I was an okay designer. I was actually kind of bad, much like Chino was, but I worked really hard at it. I was sleeping on the floors at work. The cleaning ladies would always wake me up in the morning because I just didn't want to go home. I would shower at the gym, and I was so in it. I was so on fire. It's a lot like, when I hear stories of Ash Thorpe, driving 3 hours to go work at Prologue, it kind of reminds me of just how much of a freak I was as well back in the day, and I just lived and breathed this stuff. I just couldn't. It was what was burning inside. It was the only thing I wanted to do. And I would study Designers Republic, I would study The Attic, and kind of infuse that into my personal work. A lot of, I don't know what you call this, but this is, it was a style back in the early 2000s. I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of like explosion 3D vector grids, maybe. So I did a lot of that work, and then was also really inspired by Chris Cunningham, who is pretty much my idol. And so would do a lot of work like this. Just essentially edit spaz graphicness. And this. Ooh, all right. And so that work got me noticed by this guy, who was pretty much my first real mentor. Because my coworkers at Virtual were more like homies. This guy was like my first. This is Coach Cooper, Coach Kyle Cooper. Brought me into Imaginary Forces for my first real job. And so me and Coach would make really dark things. Coach Cooper taught me all about the darkness. And so really dark, moody shit. Really dark stuff. Abrasive, dark. And then I left Imaginary Forces because Coach Cooper wanted to go start Prologue. And it took him a while, so I went off and worked in the motion graphics industry in LA for Buck and Engine and Transistor Studios and Motion Theory, just basically at all the studios. And there I learned that in motion graphics, it's all about diversity. You need to be able to do a bunch of different styles, so Geo Dobermans and Raining Whales and logo beards and logo chests and drawings and character designs and smashing and, tactile, practical stuff, and, and then the techie shit. And the techie shit is a bit of a foundation for me. Doing all the flash work and really focusing on those minutia details really taught me that techie shit was actually quite easy. And it was comfortable. Not easy, it was just comfortable. It was a comfortable world for me to deal with grids and infographics and just, getting high and just spacing out and filling grids with points and dots and lines and type. And that's all UI really is, man, is points and lines and type. If you tell me anything else that's on this screen, it's points, lines, and type, and grids, and weed. And so, in this motion graphics industry, I was really into type as well, all different kinds of type, different styles, stack type, distress type, op art type, more op art type. Pearl 3, to make things happen, you need to put your work out there, which is how I met Kyle Cooper, which is how I got hired at Virtual, and which is how I met this guy on the left. We were here in 2008 or 2009. I was really hungover in the middle. That's why I'm so rosy. Joe was on the far left. That's Joseph Kaczynski on the left. And we were on a panel together about creativity. And after the panel, Joe's really intrigued by me, and I'm intrigued by him. And after the panel, he comes to me and he's like, "Yo, I really like this Mandingo site you made on the web." And he's like, I really liked him dancing. I thought that was really awesome. And I'm like, really? Yeah, all right. This is actually one of my favorite pieces of work that I've ever done, but I was just impressed that Joseph Kaczynski was into it. And so he's like, I really like Mandingo. I imagine you're pretty good at techie shit. Do you want to make me some holograms for my movie Tron Legacy? I was like, great, So Joe and I, we spend about a year at Digital Domain, and we make holograms like this. These are holograms. Real holograms, people, real. And then after that, he's like, yo, I'm making a new movie called Joe Oblivion. You want to work on that and make some UI for me? And I was like, sure, man, I'll come make some UI for you. And so we made some UI and this sweet sci-fi. So for this, we made light tables and more light tables and drone interfaces. The cool thing about this was that it was all played back on set, so it was shot in camera, which made it very beautiful. Shot by Claudio Miranda. So we did weather and resource gatherers, and then we did the bubble ship interface, which is probably the most fun. And at first, we weren't really ballsy with it. We're like super detailed, but then we realized that we couldn't cover up Tommy's face. It was bad. No one wanted to cover up Tommy's face, so we simplified it to that. It became that. Didn't cover up Tommy's face. But then we went attack modes and all these different things here. We got this and drones and Terminators and more clocks, whatever, guns, and binoculars. And then I was like, holy shit, I'm really bored of UI. Like, After 2 years of that, man, it was like, I can't do it anymore. But what my point is that I put Mandingo on the internet, and Joe and I were on a panel, and then I did this work, which is probably the most visible work that I've done in my career, even though we're not gonna look at it too much in this talk because it's old. So here we're going to Pearl 4. Don't wait for someone to hire you to make work. If there's no work, then it's time to invest in personal projects. So if all you're doing is waiting for people to hire you to make work, you're essentially the monkey on the right. You're just licking ass all the time. You're licking corpy ass all the time. If you do personal work when there's no work, you're the monkey on the left. You're becoming licked. Now, my view on personal work is your best work is an expression of yourself. Now, you may not be the greatest at it, but when you do it, you're the only expert. And that is your best work. And so, for me, my personal work is incredibly important to me, and I actually am really excited when I'm not doing client work and I only have personal work. So my personal work, some of it, is very inspired by dimethyltryptamine, which I'm not going to tell you what that is. Maybe I will. No, I won't. But I love dimethyltryptamine and I love psychedelics, and so my personal work is all derived from the things that I see and think about when I am in my happy place. And so I like to make op art that moves and kind of has this kind of movement to it. So this kind of stuff makes me happy. And little kind of weird tunnels. Sometimes I get really colorful with it. Sometimes I don't. And then I say, okay, well, I want to, that's like wave one. This is round one. And then I was like, okay, well, I want to collaborate with some coders that can build me geometry. So I work with a guy named Marcin, who makes me these fractal cube generators. And I bring those into Maya, and I render those and make art like that, kind of just like fractal cube tunnels. Makes me happy. And then I'll do manual cube extrusions and put them in a fisheye lens. So I'll just grab points and use, it's called Iterative Extruder. Very cool plugin for Maya, and I'll just pull cubes forever and put them in a fisheye lens and make little spike balls like that. Run op lines through those. And then I call up Marcin again. I was like, okay, fuck cubes. Let's do something different. Let's do this geo editor. So I make this geo editor. I make more geo. And I throw a camera in the middle of that, and I make art that looks like this, kind of inspired by Andy Gilmore, my hero, one of my heroes. This is kind of the Geo series. It's like, all right, stars, and whoa, pink one, and then the op lines. So there's a lot of different approaches to this. There's like refraction and reflection. Very, very fun to make. It's kind of like, it makes my brain, it's like brain muscle. And recently, I've been studying a lot of the kinetic art from the late 1960s. Victor Vasarely is another one of my heroes. So I'm just kind of looking at this, and I was like, all this stuff is practical. All these things that they're making is all practical, based on the laws of materials and light. Interesting. So I'm really inspired by that left page. So it's like, okay, well, what if I start playing with refractions instead of reflections? And I throw these objects and I kind of refract things through them and get all these kind of like aberrations, cubes, and this is interesting to me. Cubes and more cubes, and then kind of more like op cubes, sort of. This inspires me. And you can just imagine me in my basement, right? You can imagine me with my hue bulbs, my red hue bulbs in the basement, just like making this shit, right? You can see that? You can totally see that. Fields. This is all refraction. Really inspiring. It's basically op art, but it's kind of adding all these natural aberrations to it, which is really fun. You can kind of make tunnels in it. Makes me happy. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to take this further. And I was like, okay, I want to make better geo. I need to make better geo. So I learned this thing called MASH in Maya, and then I'm really into fisheye lenses and sphere lenses. And so started playing with this stuff. And I was like, okay, cubes with, and then this is actually, let me tell you a story. A shaman one day told me that my purpose in life is to recreate my DMT visions. And that's fucking hard because it's really detailed. So I'm starting to kind of find my way. I'm starting to figure this out a little bit with these kind of cubes and things. So, and then you can do all this other stuff with these cubes. And then I learned how to do particles with volumetric light. I learned this render engine called Arnold. Love Arnold. And then I was like, fuck, you can do particles with volumetric light. And it's like, oh, what if the particles were refractive? What if light kind of came through them? And I was like, well, fuck it, let's just dump 40,000 particles on it and shine lights through that. And then it's like, they got this like marble field, and that's cool, all right. And then it's like, okay, let's do like 100,000 particles on a dodecahedron and have that be a refractive source with lights coming through. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of balls. I like that too. And so, and then I just do stupid shit like this. Yes, go! So this is us filming it. This is Monksterbait. This is some of my favorite work as well. And Monksterbait was a present that my best friend gave me for my birthday. It was a little wind-up toy. That's a good one, huh? I was like, okay. Really inspired by that. So, you know, so then I made a statement about it. It's like, what are the sounds that masturbation makes? Is it that one? It's like throaty, more throaty. And then, yeah, bassy, kind of like abrasive, and oh, honky, and a video game like that. And then that became my website, which makes me really happy. So if you go to GMUNK.com, you can visit Monksterbait, which makes me really proud. And like I get hired by like Samsung, and they're like, "So your website," the Korean clients, you know, they're like, "So your website?" And and that's it. So another, you know, and then there's all sorts of different kinds of personal work. Monkey King is going to be a new short film that I'm going to make at the end of the year. It's kind of the sequel to Monksterbait, and then a lot of the other work I've been doing. I'm really excited about this, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but this is kind of my process, as I start with an idea, and I start to kind of gather images so I can have a board of inspiration, and I'll talk about this, but I'm really voracious about personal work. It's really, really important to me to always be hungry and attack, and always making it. It's just so important, because if you don't, you remember the slide about the licking ass, so you can't do that. And then you make this personal work that you love, and it turns into work that pays. This is pearl number 5. And so here's a personal project that I made for Sean, actually, in 2013 for FITC Amsterdam. And it was the brief was to do you know, the print campaign for the conference. And so I partnered with my good friend Michael Fullman, and we rented some LED panels and threw some light on the end of it, controlled it with VJ software. Kevin Gossman brought his camera in, got a still camera in from my buddy John Wynn as well, and made this little thing. So really inspired by practical, you know, by LEDs and photography and cinematography. And so, you know, you just get so much when it's real. You know, you get all these action, you know, natural reflections and aberrations that you could never really do with CG. And so this was really inspiring. And a company called Adobe saw this project, and they say, "Hey, do you want us to do we want you to do our logo remix." And so gathered the same exact crew together and said, okay, well, we need to push this a little further. And so we went in on a studio, 3 of us. Total budget on this thing was 20 grand. So it kind of felt like a personal project, you know, not too big, it was just kind of chill. brought in a laser projector, and fabricated a bunch of logos. And so let me skip ahead real quick. So this is kind of the mood board. I wanted to explore lasers and mirrors. I was really excited about that. I wanted to explore LEDs again because I wanted to do them better. Was really inspired by practical refraction. So you see all the personal work I do with refraction. I like to kind of study something in 3D and then apply it to live action or vice versa. It's kind of this ongoing dance between the two. And then I wanted to play with infrared photography. And so this was kind of our mood board. And we fabricated 3 of these Adobe logos. We built 2 in the larger size, one made out of acrylic and one made out of powder-coated steel and mirrors on the inside. And then we built a smaller one for all the LEDs. And so I'll show you this piece. Watch this for a little bit. Oh, you guys are nice. Thanks. No clapping. All right, so real quickly about the process on this. It's pretty simple, man. A lot of haze machine, a laser projector, some mirrors, a bunch of freaks, a camera, shoot it, Sharpies, cleaning this fucking thing a lot. God, it's so much fucking cleaning. And then Barry, good man, LED guy. Barry rigs this thing up, right? And there's all these wires in the back. And it's like, Barry, you got to get rid of the wires, dude. Like, we want to clean. He's like, nah, man, don't touch the fucking wires. Because he did it like every single one of them by hand. And it's like, don't touch the fucking wires. I'll kill you. And I was like, okay. So then when I showed it to it, I was like, all right, there's wires in the back then. And I was like, when I showed it to Adobe, I'm like, it's like this brain. And there's these wires that connect to the hub. And Adobe's like, yeah, we'd love it. And I was like, cool. So, you can fake it. And then we did LEDs on LED ribbon on the back of acrylic, which kind of gave us that Tron kind of bloop. And then we threw the acrylic on a TV, an 80-inch TV, and matted it out for the refraction. And then we did, this is the most interesting part, I think, to me, was the infrared. So we had to connect on a skater dolly. Let's connect on a skater dolly with some black lights on either side. And so when you shoot that, more cleaning, hey, clean it. When you shoot it, it looks like that. So there's nothing. It's just the two black lights. But when you expose an infrared, it looks like that because those spheres that you see are from the Kinect. That's the actual lens flare coming from the Kinect that then would reflect in the mirrors and just go crazy with Moiré patterns, which I thought was really beautiful. So this was interesting to me. And so I was really inspired by this infrared. I was like, I want to do more work with full spectrum photography, which is infrared and ultraviolet. And so what happens is that a big corporation called Samsung sees this and they're like, hey, we want the GMUNK light show. And so it's like, oh, here we go, baby. Woo, phones! Oh, no. And then Windows is like, we want the GMUNK light show. Oh, no, God, no. And then I'm like, what's up? And that's it. That's all you get. But it's true, man. Make personal work that you love, and then that usually will bring in work that pays you. Pearl 6, collaboration, which could have been Pearl 5 as well, because, to do these kind of light, practical setups, it's all about collaboration for me. I'm a graphic designer. And so collaboration keeps you versatile and sharp, just like Bruce Lee. Yeah, Bruce Lee. And so I think the richest thing of collaboration for me was moving up to San Francisco and working with a company called Bot and Dolly. So I moved to San Francisco to be close to my dad. He lives in Sonoma, and he was, I just wanted to be closer to him. I was living in LA at the time. And San Francisco is a lot cooler than LA. People are nice in San Francisco. They've been really friendly to me. And I found this company called Bot and Dolly, which does motion control systems using industrial robots. They did all the motion control on Gravity. And they had just figured out how to projection map on moving objects, which was really incredible. And so they had this demo, they had this box demo, they called it, and it was really ugly, and it was really shitty, and had this stupid music to it, and it was really colorful, and it was just like, whoa, dudes. And they're like, I start working, and the second week, they're like, hey, we want you to design this thing. And it was just like, it was an incredible opportunity. So I'll show you the piece, and then I will talk about it. All right, so I'm going to skip over this process a little bit. Oh, you guys are nice. Thanks. I'm going to skip through this, you guys. I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. What I will show you is that there's a lot of pretty interfaces. If you watch it, Houdini has a lot of pretty interfaces. So what you're missing in all of my UI shit, look at that pretty rainbow graph. Isn't that pretty in the little node network? Okay, that's how I get. Okay, we're going to fast forward to this. I'm going to show you the process video so I can talk over it and explain kind of how this works. But I think the biggest thing you need to take away from this is I went to go work at a robotics studio where there's engineers and architects and roboticists and programmers. And as a designer, that's really, really inspiring to work with people that do completely different things and can teach you about all sorts of different things. So this is how Box works. So we calibrate the robots, industrial strength robots, little arm dudes, and then we get a really expensive projector, really expensive, bright fucker. And then we go into Touch Designer and we do some calibration, make our own little custom canvases here, spray them with a special spray to make them high contrast, and then we do robotic animation first. So we choreograph what the canvases are doing before we start designing the graphics. We know what we're going to do. We storyboard it out, but the robotic moves really define how things are going to be animated. And then we go into Maya. We used Maya, Cinema 4D, and Houdini, the same three tools that we used on Tron. And so brought in some artists for that. Was really inspired by, skip it, LEDs on the back of the canvas. So when we went into that inverted mode, the canvas is actually emitting light from the back, which made it even more believable. And I think that was really inspiring. You can see there that we sequence the LEDs with the graphics themselves. This is the most important part, is motion capture camera moves that we then port into the robot. So there's a third robot holding the camera. And I think that's what sets Box apart, is that there's a moving camera the whole time, so the perspective, you get parallax through the whole piece, which makes it much more believable. A lot of projection mapping has static cameras. And so because of the motion control and the setup at the robotics studio, they could figure out how to do moving camera and moving surfaces. So it was a bit of a breakthrough. And I'm pretty sure no one's done it yet, but I don't know. I don't know anymore. Touch Designer. Touch Designer was used for kind of the hub for everything. Touch Designer is a really powerful piece of software. To do the actor inside of the box, we built this rig to get the lighting right on his clothes and then sequence the lights through them. And this is kind of, again, a theme that I've been doing is graphic sequencing driving lights. It's a lot of the work that I've been doing. And so we were able to bring that footage and then project it into the box, and the camera move was married. And yeah, I think that's about it. You guys get it, right? You good? So it's fun. You shoot it in the open studio and then get it tight. The nice thing about motion control is the shot's exactly the same every time, or at least 99% the same. Botandali's motion control system wasn't exactly perfect, but it was close. With a project that serious, it's important to have fun. And so here is all of us just fucking being dickheads and dancing. We like to have fun. I think it's important, man. Like, I've seen a lot of talks, and a lot of them stress fun and play. You know what I mean? Some of my footwork. With a light stick to calibrate the motion control or motion capture. Okay. So a quote about collaboration. Not everyone will agree with this, because I mean, you do personal work. Sometimes you do it in isolation. I do all of my graphic op art in cubes and whatever in isolation. But an artist is a nourisher and a creator who knows that during the act of creation there is collaboration. We do not create alone. It's not always true, but I just love this quote. I think it's really beautiful, and I really think that when you do collaborate with people, it really expands your repertoire, it expands your skill set, you learn a ton, and you do work that you normally wouldn't do. You know, all this lighting work that I'm doing, all this material study stuff, it's all because of collaboration. I'm collaborating with cinematographers, I'm collaborating with industrial designers, fabricators, obviously lighting designers, and it's really inspiring. How much time do I have left? How am I doing? I have 10 minutes left? Shit. Oh, I really want to show you this, you guys. Should I show you? I'm going to fast forward. I'll just fast forward to the end. How do I get my cursor over there? So this is a piece done with the same studio, a title sequence. And here, I'll talk over a little bit. I wanted to have each title in the sequence be the whole thing is practical. Everything. There's not a second of post in this thing. It's all practical, and I just wanted to kind of create this kind of maze throughout the studio and just have each artist kind of craft one of the speaker names. This was for Off Cincinnati last year, and then I wanted to stitch them all together with time lapse, just to kind of show how each one was set up. So I'm going to fast forward to some of the more fun ones. A little buddy. Here's a projector one. You don't need to see the end. So like I said, everything is practical. Each artist in the studio did a name, and then we wanted to have the title of, you know, the speaker name kind of mimic the work that they did. So Lobaloo is a papercraft artist, and so we did that. Digital Kitchen, kind of digital. We did a TV through kind of an acrylic mountain of type. Let's see, James White, the pyramid. The floating pyramid, put it on a Levitron, got you a wave pool, dude, with speaker kind of vibrating, dude. I wanted to vibrate you a little bit. Sue Gwen and her Love Hotel, you know. Coco Lab is a projection company, so we wanted to kind of create this forest and, you know, a GMUNK, this freaking GMUNK guy. So I just wanted to pour cream on myself. So it was really satisfying to make a bucket full of semen and to pour it on myself. I love doing that. That was really satisfying. And then, of course, I made a video about it with more appropriate music.
I hit you like what you say. I could fuck you all the time. I could fuck you all the time.
All right, you get it. All right, so and then the ending. You didn't get to see the ending, but we used blow darts and balloons and glitter. Joe wore his safety goggles, and we blew the darts into the balloons that made the type. So collaboration it's a very important thing, man, to kind of expand what you do. Another important pearl. How am I going to get through the 5 minutes? That's bullshit. I'm going over, Sean. How you guys doing? You having fun? You guys good? You have an army here, Sean. You're not doing shit. All right, so have no expectations on how your work will be received. With no expectation comes no disappointment. I love this quote because I made this music video for Tycho, right? And there's a story about this girl, and she wakes up in the woods, and she's like, holy shit, my vision's on fire. I'm seeing in full spectrum. Why is everything fucked up? And she goes, and she sees all this crazy shit by the trees, and then there's this dude, and she does this flare dance, and she sees this dude, and he comes, and then there's this band footage, too, with the infrared stuff that we were playing with people, and she wakes up again, and it's like, what the fuck, there's this dude, he stole my shit. She's like, follows him, and she follows him through the forest. He goes to the tree, and then she goes in there to what? And then more weird shit, and it's an amulet, and she wakes up again. She's like, fuck, I'm on the beach now. Oh, my God. And the beach is on fire, and I follow this dude down, and I'm dancing around this circle, and he's in there. Where is he? Oh, he's there. And then I grab his face, and I throw him, and then he wakes up in the forest, and it's a whole thing. And I was like, this video, it's kind of cool, right? And I had expectations, man. I was like, this video, Virgin's going to call me, and they'd be like, hey, man, we love your video. You want to do one for Jay-Z? And sure. So then it's like, oh, okay. Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. Oh, close the mouth. Oh, I knew it. Oh, more over. Oh, shit. Oh, Zach Al. Oh, man. The fuck triangle. Oh, shit. Oh, wooden shapes. Acid? Oh, come on. Oh, it's a lot of acid. Shrooms? Oh, where's my bong? Oh. And it's like, fuck, man. I don't know. This was actually one of the most fun projects I've ever had in my career. We just went out to the woods, we camped together, we shot this thing for 5 days. It was so fun, but the world didn't seem to really dig the video. And so I said, all right, well, all right. Can't lose the enthusiasm. So then I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to do a recut. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to take all the cool band footage, and the girl's gone. No one liked the girl. I love the girl. She's great. She's Danish. She's in it. She's fun. She's barefoot through the woods. She wanted to take off all her clothes. I was like, no, keep your clothes on. I don't want to paint out your nipples, dude. And then we got the, so I recut the video. Here's the recut, right? And I recut this thing with no expectations. I just cut it again. I was like, fuck it. I'll just cut it. Oh, it's pretty band footage. Okay, so this video goes on forever, and it's like a 5.5-minute song. We do all this stuff with projection and embers in a mirror tunnel. Oh, this was really fun, actually. Check this out. Whoa. That's just steel wool with in a triangular mirror tube. I like that. And then there was like, oh, it's all sorts of shit. Oh my God. So to me, this video is more boring, right? There's like no story. There's nothing happening. It's just a bunch of pretty boys just like playing in a constellation of infrared light, right? And I released this thing, and I didn't have any expectations about this. I was just like, hey, I'll just release this. And then everyone loved this fucking thing. And I was like, you know what? This is the last time I'm going to have expectations for any of my work, because it feels really good to release things and to not expect anything. You just release it, and then it's done. And then whatever comes of it. And that's actually a lot more satisfying than actually thinking that it's going to do something. And that was like a really important lesson for me. And, ever since, it's been just the way that I've been working. I just really, I do the work for myself, and then the rest is just kind of, it is what it is, you know what I mean? So that's that. Reference. Reference is your most valuable asset for creative output. Consume and catalog everything that resonates with inspiration. This is one of my favorite quotes, and this is me photographing Joel Gethin Lewis's talk, who then photographed me photographing his talk, which is kind of cool, a little recursion. But this is actually one of my favorite quotes, and to me, I believe that nothing is original, that you steal from anywhere that resonates with inspiration or fuels your imagination. Devour everything that resonates with your soul. select only things to steal from that speak directly to your soul. If you do this, your work and your theft will be authentic, and which is invaluable. And so, and don't bother concealing your thievery. Celebrate it. I always like to state what references I'm pulling from and celebrate them in the work that I do, and I do that a lot. I keep very organized. I catalog everything around me. On Pinterest, I study patterns. On Instagram, I'm constantly photographing patterns that I see. I'm essentially always paying attention. Like I'm always in it, and I never stop looking at materials and patterns and things that really speak to me. And a lot of you think that Pinterest is just for wedding cakes and outfits, but it's not. It's a really powerful platform, and you can make whatever board you want. So the things that are important to me are geometry, lights, psychedelics, op art. The radical is really important. Graphics, and so on and so forth. The nice thing about Pinterest as well is you can make secret boards, and so like little films and mood boards that I'm working on, kind of go down there, and you can collaborate and share them with friends. Really powerful, and really, and I a lot of people will disagree with me, but I just think reference will, if you're ever stuck, just start looking at shit. Just start studying things. Study the masters. And then go out in nature, look at things, and catalog it and have it, because you never know when you're going to need it. And for reference, I'm always making treatments, and a lot of you can't draw or storyboard everything. It just so reference is really helpful for kind of communicating an idea. And so a treatment that I just wrote last week, that I'm going to be shooting next month for an Eric Prydz music video. Again, just pick really hot reference, really relevant reference, and it's really, really important, man. So it makes your treatments better, it makes your process better, it makes while you're working, you're always kind of looking back and studying, and so I can't stress enough how important the reference is. Bonus pearl, Andre, you were right. There's a few bonus pearls. Strive to constantly reinvent yourself. I stare at my website and I'm just like, fuck, like I'm doing too much op art, or too much live action, or too much practical shit, or too much of this, too much of that. And I'm always pushing myself to just stay diverse and to constantly challenge myself, to make myself uncomfortable, to do new things. And so I actually have all of my work that I've ever done. At the bottom right, She Dumped Me for a Roofer, was a student film that I made when a girl dumped me for a roofer, and I made a 14-minute cartoon about it in Flash, and it's really dark and vile, and it got into Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Animation Festival. I was really happy about it. Lots of exploding penises and making her look really bad. She actually saw it. I screened it at school. In the theater, and she was there, and she saw it, and she felt so bad, and I was just like, oh man, yeah, it fucked me up. Again, another quote from my favorite Michael Cina. Look at your work every 6 months and make sure that I'm still taking risks and moving forward. Even though I'm an older designer, I feel like my career is starting again. It's funny to have different seasons of work. I'm on my third life as a designer. I agree with that, man. I used to do all graphics and UI and whatever. I started playing with lights and materials. I started collaborating with people, getting into robotics, projection mapping, this and that. This is so important. It's so important to always try to stay diverse and try to reinvent yourself. One thing in all of this lighting work that I've been doing, I've always wanted to, I tend to do this a lot with the infrared. I wanted to put humanity in the middle of it. For this, I wanted to, for the LED work I was doing, I wanted to make a story and craft a narrative and put a character in the middle of it. So I wrote a short film for Vimeo called The Chamber. It's about 8 minutes long. Here's some excerpts of the treatment. It was really inspired. This is kind of the cover page, was really inspired by this kind of dream sequence. I wanted to shoot underwater. I was really inspired by these beds. Kind of the top right was kind of this key aesthetic for the chamber. Wanted this hallway. Really into this mirror and projection lights on the face. So if you look at this mood board right here, I'll show you a little excerpt from the film. bit of a thing, this shoot. Built an 18-foot wide chamber of LEDs and projectors, laser projectors and real projectors. Worked with a big camera crew. My reps tool of North America, kind of produced this shoot and enabled really, really great things. Had an amazing crew, collaborating with the same people, driving the LEDs. And it was a really rich experience. It was really fun. It was a passion project done for the right reasons, and made this short film. It's not out yet. It's out in June, but just had fun crafting these light beds, and we had these really weird kind of dummies in the light beds. Whoa, these weird we shot this correctional facility. It was super fucking. Look at these things, man. I want that to be my Twitter background or something. It's fucking weird. And the mirror was really exciting. Really wanted to do this eye line through all these reflections in the mirror, but I wanted it to be all cracked, and so kind of bent this mirror and manually cracked it. Arnie, our art department guy, was really great with that, and then shot at some rich guy's pool in the valley in LA. Gelled his pool light, put a fill light in there, and just did this underwater shoot, which was wonderful. So it was a really rich experience. It was a huge learning experience for me. I don't want to be like a feature film director. I'm a designer, and I love to work in live action. I love to work in a lot of different mediums. I think that's what keeps me inspired. It's so important to me to always kind of, I don't know. This is what I. This is what I think live action is. It's like everyone working in unison. It's like you gotta. It's like this just giant energy, right? And you all have to work together and feel each other's flow and not get in each other's way. And it's really hard. It's really hard because you're always working against the clock, and it's really difficult. But if you all work together in harmony, then it works better. You know what I mean? This is it. This is live action. Another thing, real quick. Went to Madrid and shot this dude, Gareth Bale. Any football fans here or soccer fans? So Gareth Bale, he's a pretty talented footballer for Real Madrid. So shot this dude, made fun of his nipples. Here it is. This is only a minute long, so we can watch this real quick. So this was fun. Went out to Madrid and shot on a stage. A lot of space lights, created it was fucking post-mayhem. It was on gray screen. So we, everything was post. So we created kind of this big thing. So it's just funny. My point with all this is that, I've been doing a ton of practical work, just shunning CG, shunning post altogether. And this was like the most gnarly post job ever. And it was like everything was done in post. So it's creating this whole volumetric desert Burning Man playa fucking thing, and working with Glassworks and making all this stuff in 3D using soft image and these raining discs down on his back, and then this giant storm of threads, and then these threads. It's all about a shirt, right? So it's kind of stupid actually. It's like, hey, check out this dude's got a shirt and he performs better because it cools him. It's like it's kind of dumb, But we did our best. It was like, well, if I'm going to form a shirt, I'm going to fucking form a shirt. This fucking tornado come and fucking wrap all around him. And then his performance is good, and he's like, hey, I can kick again, man. I want to go kick. Go get it. Oh, I'm so strong. Oh. And there was a fucking great rap party. Whoa. Anyway. Bonus pearl. Number 2, be a lover. I'm going to read you a quote because I don't actually, again, this is a new speech, so there's some holes. I need to make a slide for this quote. I'm going to read you, but I'm going to read it to you. If you send out goodness from yourself, or if you share that which is happy or good within you, it will all come back to you multiplied 10,000 times. In the kingdom of love, there is no competition. There is no possessiveness or control. The more love you give away, the more love you will have. I love that. So, this is my slide. I'm going to rest on this for a second. Let me just real talk you for off the script for a second. So, people karma is really important in this industry, right? Got to be nice, can't be a dick, got to be humble, got to be chill, right? Because there's always someone better than you. You can't have an ego. There's always someone better than you. There's the golden rule. You are not the best. You will never be the best, right? And that's nice. That keeps you humble, man. And you gotta be chill. You gotta love. You gotta send love. If someone emails you, you email back. Don't be a dick. Be nice. Help people. And just spread love, dude. You send out so much love, and then that love, don't expect it, but that love will come back, man. People karma works in this industry. This industry is full of luck, right? It's very lucky, man. You gotta to make it in this industry, it requires a lot of luck. It's not easy. It's hard out there. It's really fucking tough. And so that's what I always subscribe to, man. It goes back to my Humboldt roots. You got to just be chill, you got to be a lover, spread the love, be nice, and people karma works. You know what I mean? The final bonus pearl. I've said a lot of things today. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Monkowitz. Intergalactic Conquest is a self-expression. It's all about you, man. You make your own intergalactic conquest. Not about what I'm telling you. It looks like this. This guy rules. I love him. Look at this guy. All right, that's it. I'm done. I've gone over time. This is my shit. If you want to email me, I'm a nice person. This is me saying goodbye to you from Playa. And thanks for listening. Do you guys want to do Q&A? Do you want to do Q&A? We have time for Q&A, Sean? Sean's not even here. He doesn't care. All right. Let's do Q&A. You guys have questions? Yeah. Thanks, guys. Any questions? Yeah.
You've got such a wide range in your portfolio. How are your conversations with clients when you're breaking new ground? How does that happen or evolve when it's like, maybe I haven't done this before, or I'm known for so many different things? What are those conversations like?
Usually clients will come to me referencing something, and if it's something that I don't know how to do, that I've worked with enough people that we can figure it out, So I try not to talk to clients very much, I do the work, I put it out there, and then if they want to work with me, they can come to me with their ideas, and we can usually figure it out. I think that after working at Bot and Dolly, that robotics company in San Francisco, I'm not really intimidated by anything. In terms of a technical achievement, seeing the shit that they did for that year and a half was just like, it was incredibly valuable in kind of moving forward into that realm, into the experiential realm. But again, I'm a designer, man. I don't really like to call myself a director. I like to call myself a designer, because I think graphic design is the coolest art form, and it makes me happy. It's what I am. So that's kind of how it works, I guess. I try not to. I'm not out there like selling myself. 'Cause that's not me, I'm more like I like to think I'm a little bit more like kind of underground. And I don't know, dude. If I starve and die on the streets, but I'm doing the things that I believe in, I'll be happy. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather like I fucking made that commercial for Samsung. Horrible. Spinning phones with lasers. It's like, fuck that, dude. I can't do that. But I did it because I wanted to make some Because I look at it as it's like a constant fight. It's a constant fight. It's like, I do the best work I can always, of course, but that's not what fulfills me. What fulfills me is that money to allow me to do personal work for 2 months, to make the Eric Prydz video, or to work on my geometry, or, that's what fulfills me. And that's the attitude I take with this stuff. It's tough. Anyone else? No questions? Okay. Oh, yeah.
How deep do you dive into software? Where do you draw the line? Like, in the black hole that is all this?
I'm kind of old school, so I know Photoshop and Illustrator and After Effects really well. And those are like, those and then Maya. And that's it. And render engines in Maya. And Maya's like the supermodel at the end of the bar that will never go out with me. Do you know what I mean? And so I could try and just paw on her, and she'll never say yes, because so it's like Maya is like, I'll never know it. And it's just endless. And so I can learn the render engines, I can learn dynamics or X. I'm super into this XGen thing right now, and that's just another black hole. So Maya is like my affair that I dig in. But I know Maya, I've been using it for 10 years. It's not like I'm starting over and learning Houdini from scratch, because I think that, I'm kind of old, so like I don't want to, I'm more like I want to use the tools that I'm really good at, and Maya is like this endless thing that I can learn infinitely. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, I collaborate with, Houdini and Cinema 4D artists and, touch designer and all that shit. Yep. Is that it? Oh, we in the back.
Yeah. Just wondering if and when sound and music comes into your inspiration.
It's everything, man. It's everything. I've worked with the same sound designer for 12 years, my man Keith, and I grew up in a musical family. And so, my dad was a pianist, my brother was a drummer, I was a keyboardist, and just it's everything. It's more than 50% of the piece. And so, music is always done before the edit for me, always. And if it's not as good, But for any sort of personal work, like the chamber the music was done first, and then I kind of cut to that, or Adobe music was done first, and then I cut to it, because you can catch all those things. And when I was in college, I was looking at Chris Cunningham's work, and he did all the Aphex Twin videos, and that's as detailed to music as you can get. Rubber Johnny, Window Licker, like all that shit is like, it's so, and that's all my earliest video work is that. It's all just about laying a track down and cutting something to every single beat, and so it's everything. It's absolutely everything. It defines the piece, defines the mood, defines the flow, defines the peaks and valleys, and it's everything. All right, you're dismissed. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.